And everybody said, yes, we have to act against. And practically nothing is happening. People are leaving the conference stage and claiming, that it's a mixture of proclaimed action, but then afterwards ignorance or incompetence or both, often coming along with some kind of corruption. This is a natural combination. This is a natural consequence, but they do not care about. And then they're asking Germany and the United States for development aid. And this is ridiculous. And we are sending big machines, drilling holes, drilling wells, and installing high-tech pumps, sophisticated pumps. And they're working properly for half a year, and then somebody has to replace the cartridge in the filtration, and nobody is able to, and they'll see what's happening. It's running 2 further months, and then it's going to be rotten.
Welcome to another episode of Liquid Assets, where we talk about the world of policy, management, and technology, all as it looks at the world of water. Today, we have an amazing guest for you. We have Mr. Ulf Leonhard.
Hi, my name is Ulf Leonhard, based out in Berlin, in Germany, and I'm the spiritual director and the inventor of the WaterTech funding firm WaterVent.
Ulf, we were just talking about something super amazing, where you've gone to all these conferences at the UN, at the United Nations, and people go up on stage and they talk about, how important water is and how they need to look at it. Everybody claps and applauses, and then nobody does anything the next day. Let's jump back into that. That was super interesting.
Yeah, because there's so many reports, studies, conferences, summits with proclamations made. Yes, we have to take care about water and water is scarce and what is contaminated, see contamination by whatever, pollution of rivers and ponds, pollution of the sea, microplastics and plastics, etc., etc. And everybody said, yes, we have to act against. And practically nothing is happening. People are leaving the conference stage and claiming, that it's a mixture of proclaimed action, but then afterwards ignorance or incompetence or both, often coming along with some kind of corruption. I'm not really aware of what's happening there, but because many regions of the world, they have the natural assets like fauna, flora, they have the water, but the water and the fauna and the flora is spoiled. It's just contaminated. The forests are cut off, and if they cut off the forests, they're running into water scarcity. This is a natural combination. This is a natural consequence, but they do not care about. And then they're asking Germany and the United States for development aid. And this is ridiculous. And we are sending big machines, drilling holes, drilling wells, and installing high-tech pumps, sophisticated pumps. And they're working properly for half a year, and then somebody has to replace the cartridge in the filtration, and nobody is able to, and they'll see what's happening. It's running 2 further months, and then it's going to be rotten. And then the metal is stolen away and then finished, and all the resources like the aquifers, they are explored, and pumped. The groundwater level is sinking. The same even in Germany, which is happening, actually. And I say, okay, there are many smart startups. The startup development in the sector is enormous. And water is turning up to be the new oil or the new or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
but it's still done too less. There are a few incubators worldwide, very renowned ones, mainly if they're US, and one in the Netherlands and one in UK with our utilities. They are very active in the space, but it's still a lot to do, and not necessarily in terms of high tech, but in terms of normal tech, which can help people on the rural to explore water, to drill for water, to store water, really challenge rainwater catching systems, storing water, and maintaining it and harvesting water. And this is kind of not necessarily comes along with high technology. They do not
mentioned that. You had mentioned that a little while earlier, that that we have all this high tech technology, like you just said in this example. We put this stuff out there, it breaks. You need an engineer to go out there, repair it, and then the metal gets stolen at the end of the day, and then we don't know what happened. You said we're kind of going back and you're helping what would be normal technology, right? That normal people could use, that we used back
Well,
in
a
the
nice
medieval world.
example, and a good question. A nice example which I had recently was a founder team in Canarian Islands, on Gran Canaria. What they do, they are trapping water in the morning dust with nets, like fisher nets.
Yeah.
And they are trapping the humidity in the morning, and they get nice water out of it. It works. It works. No sophistication. It's just trapping with the water, the humidity in the water, the moisture in the morning fog, and getting water from it. So this works. And this could be, we are talking about this new technology, water generation technology, getting water from humidity of air. It's quite popular technology trend. But this works. There's no installation. There's no energy need. They just install the nets and collect the water, and they have it even bottled, the water. This is a nice example for simple. It's not a technology, it's an idea. It's an installation. And there are a lot of ideas stemming from 1,000 years ago, from the Middle Ages, have to be reinvented and reinstalled, saying, like the famous canal systems they have in the Canarian Islands, little canals coming down from the mountains and distributing the water in the fields for horticulture, for orchards, whatever. And it works. It's still working. They're centuries old. They still work. There's nothing better. You don't need pumps because the water runs down the mountain. They're benefiting of the natural decline of the mountain. And this kind of system often do more benefit to the population than highly sophisticated technology, which nobody can maneuver properly, because you need an engineering exam for having it done. You need a lot of energy. This is a disadvantage for pumping, for desalination. You need a lot of energy. If the energy does not work, what you do?
What would you do after?
You drink expensive imported bottled water.
Yeah.
Bottled water, for instance, in Germany, this is joking on people. We don't need bottled water in Germany. Our tap water is delicious. It's fancy, yeah. And drinking Vichy water in USA, this is ridiculous. Wow.
Let's jump to WaterVent really quick. I think this is a great tie into that. Can you kind of explain what WaterVent is? What are you trying to do with it?
Well, WaterVent, WaterVent is stands for water event, water venture. It's the abbreviation of this. I introduced WaterVent to the market in 2010, starting in Berlin. It's a matching format, which is dedicated to match water tech related startups, including adjacent sectors like AG, like aquaculture, blue and green biotech, algae, of course, or the modern AG methods like indoor farming, rooftop gardening, facade greening, even smart cities. If you try to plant again street trees to improve your climate within the city, to reduce heat waves in the city, etc., and matching these startups with funders, with investors, of course, but which is of equal importance is to match these kind of startups with potential clients and users who have the guts to try out simply in their installation, in their assets, in their facility, in their building, for instance, to try out the new technology, saying, hey, if it works, we buy more of it. We have to try it. If somebody who is a tenant who is the owner of a big building with 500 tenants, they start to think about decentralized technology, say decentralized treatment of brown and black water in their caves, treat the water and give it back to the tenants.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same principle like in fancy, so modern New York. We still have this big water storage installation on the roof of the skyscrapers. This looks like out of this time. It's still obligatory. As far as I know, we have to store the water up for the time the water is getting scarce. The sea, so modern. One of my favorite sayings is, "Hey guys, about talking about virtuality and virtual and AI and whatever, 3D, saying, hey guys, you cannot suck water from the internet. You need water physically in front of you, unless you're going into trouble. Hands-on technology, this is the demand.
So if you were to kind of look through all of the companies that had come through WaterVent, what are your three, if you can find three of the most disparate examples, what would you say? What are those companies or ideas that they're working on?
Well, the first of all is decentralized water treatment technologies. So, say containerized solutions like containerized water treatment, because the majority of areas or cities of this world, they do not have pipe system infrastructure at all. So what you have to install, you cannot dig around there and getting pipes in the earth. You have to install containers with a water treatment system, get the wastewater in and get the cleaned up water out. So this is a huge trend which can be even used in civilized countries like Germany. If you are somewhere in a farmhouse in the middle of nowhere, this makes no sense to get access to a pipe system where you have to dig the pipe for 10 miles along. No, they have to decentralize technology, decentralized water treatment, like per se decentralized. So the wells you find, you get the water from and you treat it decentralized. So you don't waste the water in the soil, whatever. You can use it for irrigation or for a nice pool. You treat it naturally. Second trend is back to nature and water treatment. So the setup of water treatment, like done with water grass or with algae, etc., etc. This is a huge trend combined with horticulture. So co-called hydroponics, aquaponics, huge trend. We have to get some fishes in, some carps or trouts or whatever, and you can harvest the fish and you can harvest the algae. And the side effect is your water gets treated. So this is something really nice. And any kind of say water saving technologies, especially in AG concerning irrigation. There's a lot to do because a normal irrigation is just swimming water on the plants. Hopefully they grow, and 70% of the water is going to be vaporized. So it's just going away. So this is kind of pity if you have very expensive, and fourth, water is far too cheap. If it's that expensive like petrol or gas is, people would care about it more. Water is still a neglected commodity. That is the mixture of pricing and, say, putting more awareness, education with people, saying, hey, you do not need to irrigate your lawn daily, and we are running into water scarcity. A nice model is Las Vegas, how they deal with their scarce water resources. They do it quite well because they're in the middle of nothing. There's only desert. Then they have, I guess, 90% water usage quota on their water they have, like the Australians. But there's still many regions in the world that do not treat the water, just get it out. Like in Saudi Arabia, the majority of water they get from desalination. They use it. It's swamped in the desert. So this is kind of it can be so simple, but it's also a question of education of water users, getting more awareness that you don't have to wash your cars even each Saturday. Well, and as getting somehow more awareness for the water as a resource as such. So.
I want to jump really quick to your talk you gave on the impact entrepreneur. It's called Finance and Water Security. A question that really popped up was, how do we take these technologies and make them mainstream to ensure that water security, and what role does finance play in this? Right. I think it's an interesting point, kind of to what you're just saying right now.
Well, for instance, take me an example. We in Germany, we are living in a really luxury position like Switzerland, Austria, or Belgium, Luxembourg. You go to the tap, turn up the tap, and you can just drink away the water. Wherever it is hot, or in summer or in winter, you have water available. And this is in the meantime, we have 90% water security. There are still regions with water scarcity, so They are forbidding get water from ponds or lakes, the so-called surface water that's forbidden, but it's still an exception. So we are living in a water paradise. And I don't have to treat the water. It's the best vigilated resource you have. It's water. It's better than bottled water here. So. And funding is relevant, but there are so many ideas which are not in need of huge funding, but of courageous clients. So if I say, okay, somebody has developed a method to treat water or to store water, if it's like storage of rainwater, harvesting rainwater into storage, it's always a challenge, especially in regions where it seldom rains. So the storage and to maintain it portable, this is a real challenge. And this is a technology state of the art. It's not a question of money, but a question of will, whether I want to do it and then sell it instead of doing something else. Mm-hmm. Of course, there are high-tech water solutions like generation of water from the air or development of alternative desal water technologies. There is an alternative to the reverse osmosis, which consumes a lot of energy and is really, really bad for the environment because the brine, so this salt, dirt mixer, is put back to the sea. Mm-hmm. So, and of course, there's a big need, but this is in the hand of the big corporates. So I see, of course, funding is relevant, very relevant. It's getting better and better and better because many private investors, many clean tech venture capitalists, many foundation, which is a quite important source for money. And many corporates are doing corporate venturing, like Xylem. It's a nice example with the Xylem Labs. They're going in the water. Other like AG, they're going, Cargill, they're going into water, etc., the fertilizer producer. So my recommendation for every water tech startup, talk to food industry, beverage industry, real estate owners, talk to your country club and saying, hey, I'm maintaining your law green for 50% of the cost you actually have. So you are in, you get a nice reference. And when the golf club members see this technology, they are asking, okay, are you looking for investment? This is the way you get it. Yeah. So there's still only, say it's increasing, especially in US, but there are still only somehow 15 water tech only investors like we see in this world. Don't count how many are IT investors. Yeah. This is 1,500 to 1,000.
And I think that probably goes back to what you said earlier of the fourth trend of water being too cheap, right? Like I think there's this disincentive around it being cheap and then also financing something that is so readily available.
That's it. And it's water. The second issue is water is very political. Like the discussions around water as a human right, which is theoretically nice to hear. Practically, it cannot be realized. Mm-hmm. And because without water, you're surviving maybe 2 days. Without food, you can do 2 weeks, but without water, you're running into problems. So this is something which is a mixture of awareness and water price to urge people to manage their resource if this is available, practicable, and back to my decentralized technology. So better giving a promotion to household owners, to house owners, saying, hey, if it's raining, we are giving you a special loan or a subsidy. Did you install a rainwater catching system together with your solar installation? You can do it because when it's raining, it's dropping from the solar to the rain catcher system, and then it's well stored. And together with your neighbors, you can set up a huge water storage, a water tank somewhere together. So not everybody on its own, but together in the street, in the neighborhood. So you get more and more independent from water availability from utility. And this would be something meaningful in my life. Putting back more responsibility, like it's done with energy production, like solar installation, the heat pumps, etc., geothermal installations, etc. This is then decentralized. The heat pumps are decentralized technology on household base. So doing the same with water, especially for those people who have a big house or villa, they can reasonably do it. So
I want to jump a little bit into why you do what you do. I think it's always interesting to kind of unpack the journey of why you got to where you were. Why are you focused on all this? What kind of drove you to building this?
First of all, it's concerning my family genes, I guess, because my father and my grandfather were both forest guards. Because I'm running as well a forest and wood innovation forum, because it's closely related. Where there's no forest, no wood, you're running into water scarcity. And all the forest fires taking place will lead to enormous water scarcity because there's nothing, everything is burned. So, and this is one of the first reasons. And the second reason, when I founded WaterVent in 2010, I was aware that there's nothing going on like a matching firm besides some exception like Imagine H2O, which is pretty old in existence in San Francisco. But there's nothing focusing on water. Nothing. Because water is taken as a natural resource. It's just there. It's a commodity. What can you earn with water technology? But this, in the meantime, changed dramatically. And everybody is talking about water scarcity, availability, even in Germany. So and water technology will have a bright future in my eyes. So this too, because I'm in the matching firm business for 25 years now. So, and I detected water, it's a neglected area, neglected sector. With very, very few firms. If you see the general cleantech forums taking place, it's 80% energy, production, distribution, storage, saving, whatever. Then it's 5% new materials, recycling and all along, but dominated by energy. And maybe you find one or two water tech related startups in this general cleantech forum. When you're nowadays talking about cleantech, you mean energy. And when I'm talking about clean tech, I mean water and forests as a natural resource to take care of. Because if you mean climate, all the climate summits, climate means forest and water. Nothing else. Climate is water and forests. And if these two columns and these two assets are not available, we have a terrible climate. I'm not a scientist and nor an engineer, but it's just switch on your brain saying, hey, climate is dominated. Where you have woods, you have a nice climate and water. And what is the reason why people are building their houses close to water, close to the seafront, close to lakes, close to ponds, close to rivers? Because they love water is life. If you don't have water, life is not fancy and not feasible. So, and this is where all my ideas. I'm not a philanthropic world saver. Let's put it this way. I'm earning my money with it, but in the meantime, I'm so deep, and WaterVent as a format is so well known and acknowledged in the global water community. And the most relevant countries like US, like Canada, Israel, all over Europe, especially UK, Scandinavia, which is quite active. Bit in South Africa, bit in India, Australia, New Zealand jump in. The rest of the world is, I call them water tech ignorant. And there is no relationship between the degree of water stress in their countries and the degree intensity of development new water technology, except California and Israel. The only two exceptions. When you see Scandinavia and Denmark, are really interesting sources for new water tech, but they don't have water stress. So it's interesting to see this. And those countries who have water stress, like Brazil, like South Africa, like India, like China, there's now big water tech development taking place. The incubators we have.
Why do you think that is? If there is a water stress issue, you'd think that they would be more incented to build water technology?
Yeah, I'm reverting back to what I said at the beginning of our talk. It's simply ignorance and incompetence of those who are running so-called politics, They're just incompetent because they are not water is not a fancy topic. Water is not attractive. Water is not glamorous. Water is just there or not. Yeah? So they're focusing on AI summit or smart cities summit or whatever summit because they're fancy topics. Water is not very fancy.
Which
Nothing.
gets me to think about your Kenobi initiative a little bit, right? If you have this intergenerational link between older folks and younger folks, shine some light on that. What can you explain to the audience? What is the Kenobi initiative and kind of what's going on?
Kenobi stands for cannot beat experience. This wording is program saying, hey, matching professional and life experience people who have their connection, their asset, their alumni networks, the folks they know, matching those folks with ideas. And it's often, again, the relevance is no business angel matching platform, but often a startup can be supported with quite a few calls to saying, hey, I met a startup, and making an introduction to the board of a corporate or to a regional advisor, whatever, saying, hey, please give this startup a chance to pitch. And this is what the startup cannot do on their own. They're applying in the purchase department and saying, hey, you're a startup, come back when you have 50 happy clients in your list. And then the famous cat bites in its tail, You have to have a kind of good father relationship to an idea, to a startup saying, hey, I'm helping you out. Maybe with money, yes. I take you out and introducing you to my wealthy friends or to my alumni friends from consultant from KPMG or from Harvard University, whatever. But the best support you can render to a startup is introduce them to potential clients, saying, hey, I know somebody who's running a vineyard with 60 hectares and he's really suffering because of water scarcity, saying, hey, I have a solution for your friends. Introduce me. And this helps the startup more than anything else. And this is not really water focused, but it's a general platform where experienced people, my slogan is find and foster. And if they are open-minded to detect, find something new around them and saying, hey, this has nothing to do with my job or my former job, whatever, but it brings fun. It's nice, a nice team. I help those guys to develop the business. And that's all up to bring some fun to the table. So, beyond Rotary and beyond country club and beyond whatever, and saying, hey, I meet people who are half my age, third my age, saying, but that keeps my brain young and my body as well. So this is the philosophy behind that.
That makes complete sense. Yeah.
Yeah. And this idea is very well received, especially in the United States. It's a term of mentality. The Germans are always looking for their butts. It looks interesting, but 9 buts. No? The Americans say, okay, this looks nice. We can sign in. This is and the mentality to try out new stuff, just trying without knowing what the outcome is. But I like the idea, let's join. And this is the difference,
Which is kind of an interesting point that you make, because I remember you saying that earlier of a lot of these technologies can enter the market if somebody's just willing to try it, right? Just put their foot forward and say, bring in a pilot, bring in a few units. Let's go ahead and see how this works versus, like you just said, the 9 buts, right? We're going to figure out every way to not do it versus just doing it really quickly.
That's it. Try out all the big corporates we are so proud of in Germany, like Siemens, like Mercedes, like Porsche. When Ferdinand Porsche first introduced the first car after the World War, everybody said, what should we do with a racing car? We need cars which are stable, which to do their job, with a fancy racing car. And the same was with WaterVent. She invented the first motor car going from Stuttgart to, but she found her sponsors. She found her sponsors to help her out,
Yeah.
And it's the same nowadays, the same principle nowadays, saying, hey, finding somebody saying, hey, this looks extremely nice. We give it a trial. Simply, we give it a trial, whatever it means. In our manufacturing side, in the manufacturing process, or we install your filter, we see how it works. Whatever it is, finding somebody in corporate, in a utility, a private person, saying, hey, I have a 500 square feet villa in Miami. I have a problem with this and this and this. I'm keen to try out your technology. If you say it should work, we try it. And if it works, I recommend to you all my friends, you are done.
Yeah.
And this kind
totally.
of finding this kind of people with all this without consideration, who are open-minded to try out new stuff without knowing whether it really works. And and this is the remedy. This is the recommendation for water, which is a try-out process. We have a natural resource. We have to try how it works or not. If you don't try it, you can never getting out on the lab stage into real life, into real life applications. The same with all other technologies, product, whatever. You see, if a product is successful, the first actor is going, oh, what's a nice product. Everybody wants it,
Entirely. You said earlier that your brother is actually a famous futurist as well. It would be super interesting to be a fly on the wall during your holiday conversations or something like that. What does he think about water, and what do you guys talk about from a water perspective?
Well, we seldom talk about business or what he does, but he had he did a really nice movie 2 years ago on behalf of one of the Canarian Islands administration, and about natural assets, including water and greening, etc., etc. So he is the one who he is not somebody who predicts the future. He wants to predict the future, but he's saying, okay, use technology wisely, even AI, for management of water distribution, for instance. There's a huge potential. There are so many called smart grids, water distribution, leakage management, etc., etc., etc. To wisely manage water distribution, because there's so many data gathered, like consumption, like quality, like temperature. Big businesses, for instance, the regaining of energy from warm water. Big hit, because all the shower water, dishwater water, whatever,
is just
flowing in the canal. You see in winter, all the pipes are with the steam vapor. So and this is and I'm proud. I want to involve my brother more in my activities, because we're pretty close together.
Yeah.
He called God's a Futurist, and based out in Zurich, and he does a good job. If he presents, he attracts so many people globally, and because he is not a theoretical guy with all theses on a very hands-on, understandable. And the recent one was about AI. What could be the threats? What are the opportunities coming along with AI? Very interesting. So the Leonhard brother.
I ask everybody this question towards the end of the pod. Do you have a favorite book or TV show or movie that has kind of changed your outlook on life that you can recommend to the audience?
Well, there are many. But one of the most fascinating movie was The Contract of the Painter, which was it's illuminating the 16th century British nobility, where a guy hired somebody to make paintings of his castle, of the family. It's done by Peter Greenaway, and this is awesome. You learn a lot. Though it's 16th century, it can be adopted to modern times as well. The same logic, the same logic, where he finally said, okay, besides the money, I want to have sex with your daughter and your wife. He got it, but he was killed by the friends of the Duke. It's so fantastic movie. And books, I have to confess, this is more my wife's face, and I'm not really a big book reader. And I liked I liked very much, as I'm saying, not sounding too cruel, I like very much the first part of Rambo. The very first. I have to pinpoint that the first one when he came back from the war, and he was so much rejected by everybody because he was a soldier in war and came back and everybody died and everybody refused him, and even the sheriff treated him so badly. He gets berserk and about that and finally gets to jail. And this was again a nice symbol what's happening if people are not accepted and not acknowledged and saying, hey, I want to just have a job and being quiet, but people don't let him. So it's a bit hard, but so I was very impressed. Everybody knows Rambo 1, I guess. The first one was the best.
The first Rambo. Perfect.
Yeah, but he came back from the war and everything started, and he tried to look his way, and all his comrades were killed and were dead because of the war, and he tried to find his way. And there's some kind of similarity to some startups finding the way and saying, hey, we're getting rejected, does not work, does not work, no. And therefore coming back to my Kenobi platform where you have some, let's put it, good fathers, finding good fathers, saying, hey guys, hey ladies, I'm supporting you together with my friends. What do you need? This kind of informal business development, very personal, very informal, but this is the way it works. And also in the water space, of course. If you want to get into, you need to know whatever. I'm running a manufacturing site for almond cakes. I have some serious water supply problem. Could you solve it? Or I know somebody who has an almond cake factory, and he's always complaining about the water supply, that the utility does not work properly, and they had to cut down their production. And could you help this guy? I make you an introduction. And this is the world. This is the world beyond exhibitions and fairs and conferences and summits.
Yeah. I love it, which ties back very clearly to the opening of this episode. What can you do after you step off that stage? And that makes a complete amount of sense. Thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah, Ravi, it was a pleasure. I hope my terrible German accent not disturb the red line in the conversation.
Not at all. I think the audience will very much appreciate this. And so for all of those of you out there who want to find us, you can listen to Liquid Assets wherever you get your podcasts. That can be on Spotify, on Google, or on Apple. Ulf, thank you so much again.
Brilliant. Ravi, thank you very much. Welcome. I appreciate it.